If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed, a child shall lead them.
Buy our merch. All right, you guys, DJ Gabe in the house with a
DJ
full night of Radiohead. The next song is called Optimistic.
Why are you laughing?
Because I don't think that you're an optimist, and it was just a funny title to me. Because you just said, like, you'll say you're a realist and stuff.
Yeah.
Like.
No, yeah, I agree.
I think I used to be an optimist. No, I definitely used to be an optimist. Now I'm not sure what I am. Okay.
All right.
I'm not even sure, like, if I was around an optimistic person now, how I would feel about that. Because I remember how people used to feel around me because I was so optimistic. It really grated on them. You could tell.
It upset them?
You could tell that they wanted you to be as miserable about life in the world as they were. And yeah, it would get on people's nerves. And sometimes they would come right out and say, like, why are you so friggin' positive about everything, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd always be like, oh, it's because I'm a Christian. Because I thought you always had to have a good attitude, otherwise you're misrepresenting your religion. So even if I was in a bad mood, I never shared that. What am I going to share that with my coworker? No. So, interesting. Okay, so this is what DJ Gabe has to say about this song called Optimistic. During live performances, Tom York has sung this version of the chorus. You can try the best you can, you can try the best you can, the best you can ain't good enough. The chorus for Optimistic was directly inspired by Tom York's long-term partner, Rachel Owen. During the making of Kid A, Tom was constantly stressed out on the verge of an emotional breakdown because of his desire to make the album as perfect as humanly possible. His partner would constantly try to calm him down by telling him that the best you can is good enough. Oh, she was trying. But I can see how, well, that wouldn't work for me. Like, if I really wanted it to be better, I'm like, yeah, the best I can. Like, I know I can do better than this. If somebody's like, just that's good enough.
Yeah,
I think that would annoy you too if I said that to you when you were really trying to make something a certain way.
What?
If I was like, well, the best you can is good enough, babe.
Oh, yeah.
See? Shout out to Rachel.
Would never happen. All right, here we go. Shout out to Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel Owen's the one that would say that to him.
Oh, okay.
She was trying to help him.
Trying to help him. There's some people can't be helped.
Or maybe she was sick of his belly aching about it. She wanted him to stop. I don't know.
All right, here we go.
Who knows?
Optimistic. Radiohead. Let's do it. Boop.
account is up and running now. We are selling our formula officially. It's amazing stuff from Europe.
Made in Germany. Sold in America.
Highest standards there are. In America, the standards haven't been updated since 1980. It's super weird, like older than me. In Europe, they update safety standards basically every year. This formula is top notch, great for the stomach, great for constipation. This is a great product. If you happen to want to purchase it and join us on our journey, then grab the link in the description. If you do and leave a review for us, send me a screenshot at vinandsori@gmail.com of your review after you have received the product. We will put your name in a hat. Song reviews are going to come out by some of the people that have left reviews. Don't forget to send us a screenshot of your review once you get the product. Now a word from our mascot dressed as a pirate, Fuji.
It's a steal of a deal.
All right, that was, what was the name of that song?
Optimistic.
Optimistic.
Okay. That's so interesting that, okay, so she used to say that to him. Probably he wasn't a fan of that phrase, but it did make it into a song. And then when he would do it live, sometimes he'd switch it and say,
the best you can ain't good enough.
Right.
Yeah, Jacko, I think you're right. Those guys don't miss. Yeah. Man, that's can you relate to that? Aren't you a bit of a perfectionist? Or how is that?
Yeah.
How's that going?
I haven't mastered it. It feels like it's like a lifelong thing, but and the other thing too is it's not my choice to stop being a perfectionist. Like I don't feel like I was like, you know what? This would be beneficial to not be such a perfectionist. It was foisted upon me. You know what I mean? Like you can't have a bunch of kids and be a perfectionist. You just can't. Like you have to cut corners in different places. You have to, you know, add more water to the soup, so to speak, or allow something to just, you know, be certain ways. I mean, you've got a house full of people. You can't have I'm telling you, at my old house, like I folded each towel and each washcloth to like, I got the edges completely lined up on all the sides, folded it. It looked like friggin' a hotel in my house all the time, inside of all the cupboards and everything. You just can't do that. And I think that it's still a struggle, but like, I think that there's a lesson that has to be learned. We talked about this before, that you will keep, you know, whether you want to call it God or you want to call it the universe, you know, like God's going to keep bringing you the same lesson over and over until you learn the lesson. And even if he keeps bringing it to you, once you've learned the lesson, you're not going to feel the pain of it so much.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I had a long journey with, you know, when you have a lot of people in a smaller area, like stuff gets broken, and that used to just drive me crazy. But then coming to the realization that there is no thing in this entire world that is more important than my children. And so I changed on that, and I realized that if stuff gets broken, like it's not right, we'll handle that or whatever. But at the same time, like you can't just lose it on everybody, because I can't stand it when a pot is dented. Like, I mean, I literally just bought myself a new set of pots, a new set of pans, and within 3 days they already dented one of them. I just like to see the perfect circle. Can't. Now I'm cooking my egg and all I can see is that fucking dented corner. It just grates on me. But I'm trying to tell myself, so I haven't mastered it. So I looked at that dented corner and I was like, really? 3 days? That's it? 3 days? And they're non-stick pans. Like, you didn't even have to struggle to clean it. Like, how the fuck did you do that?
How did this occur?
Yeah, but then I say to myself, is the egg gonna be ruined because the pan is not a perfect circle? No, it's not. Does it bother me? Yes, it does. Do I feel like it says something, like my reaction to it says something about where I'm at? Other people's, the way that they treat the stuff, that also says something. So it's interesting how there's multiple things going on at the same time. Like, it's not all one person. Like, if the pot is dented, it can't blame that on everybody else and be angry at everybody else. I have to look internally at myself and say, why is this dented pot so important to me? Like, why is, you know, I spent $25 on 3 pots. They're not that expensive. Why is the dent? I don't know yet. I still don't know why that is.
As Gordon Ramsay says, it's non-stick, you donkey!
But the other thing too is we're running so many businesses, and on top of that, you know, you've got a bunch of kids, and when I sit down with my computer, people are asking, they want attention, they want time. I want time with them too, and like, you're trying to like kind of spread yourself out, and you realize that you can't make everything perfect boxes. Like, some stuff just has to be circles. I guess you could say. That's kind of how I think of it. I can't get all the edges. I can't get everything perfectly, but I can. Stuff has to be good enough. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't choose this. I haven't chosen to grow past my perfectionism. I've learned to survive in the, you know what I mean? And I don't think that that's the goal. I think the goal is to recognize that I have, like, perfectionism can be really good in certain areas. For instance, if you own a hotel and you are doing the towels, when I open it up and I see that everything's, that makes me feel like the place is cleaner. If somebody just kind of shoves it in, everything's crooked, I'm like, you know, so there are areas and there are times, but then there are also times where when you're a perfectionist, it really is destructive. So I'm trying to, so that didn't really answer the question, I guess.
No, it answered the question. It looks to me like the struggle here is, for him is.
But you're like that too with your music.
I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my music, for sure. But it's not the kind of perfectionism that's discouraging to me, though. It's just like, like if I miss a note or whatever, it's like a challenge, you know, like,
yeah. But if your notes,
perfect run through, like if I hit a perfect run through, I'm like, yo, that's challenging. But then after a while, I say, okay, that means the song's too simple for you, so now you have to write something a little bit more complicated. So it's like it elevates what I can do, because like I'm trying to squeeze all the juice out of the orange because of the limitations I have. So I'm like, yo, I got to do, you know, like I'm working on a solo right now. Like I usually don't play lead parts, you know, like it's a matter of trying to just challenge myself.
Yep.
So like if I hit perfection on like one of my songs, then it's like you can't camp out there very long, and I just say, okay, that means the song's too simple now. So I gotta do something else. So it doesn't, you know, the problem is that when you do something and you hold yourself to that standard, if other people are holding themselves to that standard, then it gets really, you know, Michael Jackson-y. Mm-hmm. You know, when that Michael Jackson was looking at that lady, and she was singing all off key and shit, and he was ice grilling her. Because he holds himself to a certain kind of standard, but then you start interfacing people. It's like, yo, she just wanted to have fun, man. Like, it was, I guess it was like 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. They'd all done the Grammys. It's like, they were all like gassed, they were tired, and it's like, nah. But this to me seems like, and this is, so that's not where perfectionism gets me. I think this is more of like the conflict that this guy has between his ideal self and his actual self. Because the song starts off with, flies are buzzing around my head, vultures circling the dead, picking up every last crumb, the big fish eat the little ones, the big fish eat the little ones, not my problem, give me some. So that to me says that he has, you know, by this time they're very successful, and I think this, like the first is talking about like the corporatization of music. Mm-hmm. Flies are buzzing around my head, so like he feels like a dead person, vultures circling the dead, picking up every last crumb. So it's like, it seems that he feels he's being consumed
to the very last crumb.
But the big fish eat the little ones. So that to me is why I said, okay, this is like the record execs or the music industry.
But then he says, not my problem, give me some.
Right, because he's basically surrendered to that. And he has, because he's made millions off of the industry. But the industry is based and rooted in capitalism.
Right.
So the big fish eat the little ones, not my problem, give me some. Because he himself is a victim. Because he's, you know, kind of like this dead body who the vultures are circling and people are consuming him. And he's basically like, well...
But at the same time, he's not at the bottom because he's still famous.
That's what he's saying, give me some, yeah. Like, I'm going to take some of that nasty corporate money, even though I hate it. And so now you've got this juxtaposition of a guy who is, like, not his ideal self. Because his ideal self would say, I don't want your money, filthy corporation.
Right.
I'm going to stay completely true to my art, you know. And so... because because internally he has that struggle with himself that he can't reconcile, then his perfectionism relative to the album is just a symptom of that real issue. The real issue is that he can't, in my view, he can't reconcile himself to like his actions to himself, or his belief system, or his ideal to what he's taking part in. And so because that's way too hard to do, I'm going to focus on something that it is possible I could attain to, which is making the perfect record, playing the perfect note. So a lot of times perfectionists, like the real maniacal ones, it's not even about the things that they're trying to perfect. It's about trying to find something that is measurable. Because like, how can you measure? Like, for example, if you're having an issue in your relationship, there's no objective way to get your girl to let her know how you feel or whatnot. That's subjective. But if I go to, and a lot of dudes do this, if I go to work, there are objective criteria I can hit or I can miss. Mm-hmm. Right? And so a lot of times people will pour their perfectionism into that because that's at least going to get you a guaranteed result.
Yeah.
Or at least there's going to be some logic as to why the result didn't turn out the way you wanted. But then the internal shit that's much, much harder to deal with, they don't want to touch it because they don't think they can, they're going to be able to make it work. So
that makes a lot of sense, actually.
So then he says you can try the best you can. The best you can is good enough. This one's optimistic. This one went to market. This one just came out of the swamp. This one drops a payload. Fodder for the animals living on the animal farm, which is, again...
At the end of the day, they're all pigs.
Well, yes, but remember, in Animal Farm, one of the pigs rose to supremacy, and then there was that famous line, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. So it was like, he started out as a good communist, but then when he saw the high living of capitalism, the pig basically said, I really like this, actually. So if you look at him, he considers himself that sellout pig, where he probably started out like communist, socialist, blah 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 blah, but now he's like at the top of the food chain relative to capitalism or whatever, and so he has then himself become that sellout pig, the one that all all animals are equal. He has now become that. This one drops the payload, father for the animals living on the animal farm, and so again, like he cannot reconcile himself to his real self versus ideal self. He can't square those two. I'd really
not a good place to be in.
I'd really like to help you, man. Nervous, messed up marionette floating around on a prison ship. That's talking about the Earth, probably.
Oh, the prison ship is the Earth?
Yeah. He's floating around on a prison ship.
And who's running the marionette? Is it the corporations?
It looks to me like the corporation, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, these were...
But then he ends with dinosaurs roaming the Earth. So do you think that that's a throwback to that other song where he was saying, look, everything's all going to just blow up anyway?
I think that other song was also on Kid A. I'm not sure.
So maybe that's
how... But I'm pretty sure. But dinosaurs roaming the Earth, Like... He's saying... Like,
for instance, so we're Christians, so sometimes I go in those spin-outs, right? Where I'm like, this is not perfect, that's not perfect, holy shit, that's not perfect. Is there anything that's perfect? And I start looking around and there's literally nothing that I can point to. I have no track record over the last 5 years where I can look to it and I can say, I have been consistently perfect in that fucking shit. There's nothing. I've flawed and made mistakes in every single area. But then I tell myself, well, God says he's working everything out for my good. So even the stuff that looks really horrible or the stuff that looks like that's never going to fucking work itself out, he's still working it. So at the end of it, like when this is all over, I'm going to be like, oh, that's why. Like, that's why this or that. So maybe that's his way of, like, dinosaurs roaming the Earth. Like, okay, at the end of it, like, everything's just going to reset anyway. And what does the song matter when everything resets? Like, I don't know if that's what he's doing with that dinosaurs roaming the Earth comment at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking dinosaurs roaming the Earth to be a thematic way of saying that the Earth is going to reset. Right? Like, it's
exactly.
And so it's like...
Exactly.
Maybe,
so what is this stress, whatever, about all this and that stuff actually matter? Or what, were you saying something else?
Well, it's an ironic way to end the song because that's not a very optimistic way to end the song. All humanity's going to be wiped off the Earth and dinosaurs are going to roam the Earth.
Well, no, I really think it depends on how you look at it. Because you could look at it as like, okay, we were all done away with, so that's not very optimistic.
It's impossible for us to coexist with dinosaurs.
Right. Or you could look at it and you could say, like, well, it's going to reset itself and everything's going to, like, cycle its way through again, so it's going to be okay. Like...
Yeah. Yeah, I think if
maybe there's something wrong with me that kind of, like, calms my mind.
If you had an event where all humanity was so dead that dinosaurs came back, like, I mean, I guess you could try to spin that as something positive, but
Okay,
that's
this is what
impossible to
I'm
look
saying.
at
If I
positively.
write music, and in 20 years from now, everything is going to go away, and the only thing that's going to be left is the dinosaurs, then how much stress should I really put into this song that is not going to last forever and for always? Dinosaurs are going to be roaming the earth. Everything's going to be gone.
I mean, that's a form of nihilism, right? I mean, we're all going into the ether. So
Right, that's what I'm saying.
That's what
I
I'm saying.
think
Nobody
he's saying.
generally looks at nihilism. Nobody says, like, if a person were to say, you know, I was stressed about this test, but eventually the planet's going to go into heat death, the sun's going to go into heat death and evaporate us all, so I'm not going to study for this test. Nobody would say, oh, that's a good application of heat death of the sun.
People used to do the same thing with the rapture.
Yeah,
The
he's
Christians
the same
believe that
thing,
God
like-
is going to snatch you out. A lot of people still believe it. All of a sudden, he'll just take up all the Christians. I knew a girl that wasn't paying her college bills because of that. I said, how are you going to pay for this? And she was like, well, I'm figuring the rapture is going to happen before the end of college, so.
La ilaha.
You don't remember that? It was literally, when she said that, I know this is so horrible, but I could not wait to gossip to you about it. Because I knew you were going to make a big giant reaction. You were like, what? You could not believe. Like, it was basically that, like, why would you apply it that way? Sure enough, the rapture didn't happen. And,
How do you know? Probably got left behind. I
That's
mean, look
true.
at the last 7
That's
years.
true.
The last
Wait
7
a
years
minute.
have been very tribulation-y. Yeah, no, dinosaurs roaming the earth. I think it's meant to be pessimistic to create the irony from the song title.
Mm-hmm.
I think dinosaurs, especially in the previous song where dinosaurs were roaming the earth because Mother Nature just went and just killed us all, and God wouldn't intervene. So I just think that I think it's pretty clear that ending is, that guy is not an optimist. He's a pretty pessimistic fella. I
sorry.
guess his wife died.
Oh,
The one that was all encouraging him.
the
and stuff.
optimistic one?
Yeah, I think she died. I saw in the comment section, which is terrible.
Yeah.
That's sad. Shout out to Andrew Thomas, wherever you are. It's 12:50 where he is, so he must be in Europe. Yeah, man.
All right, well, that one's a 9.6 for me. What about you?
I'm gonna give this one a 9.5. A 9.5. Try to be excellent, folks.
Yeah, read Eddie's message.
Try to be excellent. Okay, let's see. Eddie Dreadful says, perfection isn't possible in reality. You could do your best and still come out on the bottom doing your best, and being optimistic is no guarantee that everything will be okay. That's true. That is true. You know, one of the things that I figured out that's been marginally helpful is that if you set your own standards, then you can deal with your imperfections a lot better. So, like, if I say, okay, I'm gonna run through this scale in 20 seconds with 0 flaws. I could do that, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate to me being the greatest guitarist in the neighborhood or whatnot. But if I had the standard like, hey, I hit it. I did 20 seconds, hit the scale, went up and down, did everything perfectly, not one miss. My right and left hands were coordinated perfectly. Like, you got to be able to say, like, okay, boom, that's perfect for this little thing.
Yep.
And
What you should never do is let your standards be judged by someone else. That will
Yeah,
make you absolutely miserable.
Yeah, you gotta
because
set
you can
small,
try.
reasonable goals for yourself, and
You-
then once you attain it, you can keep going.
And you can try to appease somebody else, and it might it might be that because their standards are so different than yours that you're never going to be able to even back close to 1,000. So I think you're right. I think that there's importance to being able to set your goals, set your standards, but at the same time you have to be able to make sure that those standards are not just being within your own head, and are they rational, like, but
Yeah, I mean, to Davey's point, I am already the GOAT rapper, so.
right. I mean,
9.5 for me.
9.6 for me. We're coming up next with Pyramid Song. We'll be right
Pyramid
back.
song by this band named Radiohead. I don't know if you've heard of them or not. DJ Gabe in the house, bitches. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.